You're listening to Brian Sussman on Hot Talk 560 KSFO.
We've covered a lot of ground during these 4 hours here on KSFO, and it's always a privilege, always a pleasure to serve you with right thinking from the left coast on this, the #1 talk station in the Bay Area. Also, go to the KSFO.com website under Morning Show. We have the Morning Show blog, and I want to make sure that if you use Facebook in association with your mobile phone, that you know that your phone number is available for all to behold. All of your Facebook friends, whether you like them or not, they can see this stuff. So Katie's gone on the blog. She's put all this together for you, and we want to let you know how you can get your number off Facebook. There ought to be a law, I tell ya. Okay, here's the deal. The Friday Idiot Reel. The politicians, the celebrities, the whack jobs that have said things this week that would make a rational person bury themselves in a bottle of rum. First of all, Obama. I say he's lying about the budget. Nancy Pelosi, she makes the reel a couple of times, including her belief that the GOP wants women and children sick and dumb. Liberal talker Mike Malloy, right wingers must be crushed. Bob Gibbs, outgoing press secretary for Obama, he said the press, well, they're his family. And folks, therein lies the problem. And Tim Geithner, the budget is unsustainable, always entertaining, never duplicated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Friday Idiot Reel.
What my budget does is to put forward some tough choices, some significant spending cuts, so that by the middle of this decade, our annual spending will match our annual revenues. We will not be adding more to the national debt.
When it comes to health and education, Republicans put women and children last. Democrats and Republicans must work together to ensure our nation lives within its means. And we will subject every taxpayer dollar we spend to the toughest scrutiny, ensuring that the American people are getting their money's worth.
When I took office, I pledged to cut the deficit in half by the end of my first term. Our budget meets that pledge and puts us on a path to pay for what we spend by the middle of the decade.
The total debt is $7.2 trillion on top of the $14 trillion we already have. How can you say that we're living within our means?
Well, here's I'm not suggesting that we don't have to do more. We still have all this accumulated debt as a consequence of the recession and as a consequence of a series of decisions that were made over the last decade.
Let's put this aside and get on with the business the people sent us here to do, creating jobs, reducing the deficit, strengthening of the middle class, and protecting the American people.
Why isn't it your job to stand up and say, no, the facts are these? You had a new Tea Party freshman who was out just yesterday speaking to conservatives, and he said, I'm fortunate enough to be an American citizen by birth, and I do have a birth certificate to prove it. Is that an appropriate way for your members to speak?
The right wing needs to be crushed in the United States like a cockroach. It needs to be ground into the dirt. I'm telling you, they're destroying the country.
All of you are white. Go to hell.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. Go to hell.
You don't struggle with gay marriage. You're fine with gay marriage.
He supports gay marriage.
Yeah, of course. No, he says he struggles with it.
But being a Christian is not a political orientation for the president. He is.
No, I just don't believe him.
But he is a centrist.
Well, he did go to church before he was a candidate.
What do you think he is?
For the president.
I just said a secular humanist like his mother.
You think he's agnostic, actually?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't intend today or tomorrow to tell any of you goodbye because I don't intend to go anywhere. You all are forever a part of this experience for me. You've become a greater extension of my family.
Congressman, you have illegally seized from the federal taxpayer a personal income benefit. How much money do you save by not paying rent in Washington? Would you say you save $20,000 a year off your $175,000 salary? Or are you sleeping in your office as a tax criminal?
We have to be better to the Palestinians, be more fair in the Middle East. I mean, our reputation is not great in the Arab world or North Africa. We've not always been on God's side.
I think that the Muslim Brotherhood are not anything to be afraid of. And although the Muslim Brotherhood might put together a party, public opinion polls that I have seen show that only about 15% of Egyptians would support the Muslim Brotherhood.
The
quality of the people we're talking about is extremely high. You'd be happy to have him for your next-door neighbor or your sister's boyfriend or whatever.
The stimulus package, the Recovery Act, contained within it goals to basically prevent a staggering economy from collapsing into depression. And those goals have been met.
It is a excessively high interest burden. It's unsustainable. With the president's plan, even if Congress were to enact it, and even if Congress were to hold to it and reduce those deficits to 3% of GDP over the next 5 years, we would still be left with a very large interest burden and unsustainable obligations over time.
By the middle of this decade, our annual spending will match our annual revenues. We will not be adding more to the national debt. We're not going to be running up the credit card anymore.
Oh, yeah. No, we're not going to be running up that credit card anymore. It's all good. It's always good being with you.